Hi, folks. Welcome in. See the participant number is ticking up. We'll give it just a minute or so before we jump in. Okay, well, I'm seeing the participant numbers have stabilized, so maybe we can go ahead and get started. Hi, everyone. Thanks for joining us. This is the fourth week of BEAD Grantee office hours. Thanks for joining. This week, we're going to primarily be talking about the cybersecurity and supply chain risk management plans. Before we do that, though, let's just go through our normal housekeeping process. Megan, could we go to the next slide, please?
Oh, sorry, it was being glitchy.
That's okay. I think we skipped one, actually.
Yep. It's gonna go forward one and then back two. Okay.
Okay. There we are. So I'm putting a link in the chat in case it's helpful for everyone, but just a reminder of our format. So we give CBO updates. We talk about updates we've made in the past week to the Q&A document, and these meetings are recorded. So the link in the chat is to our BEAD page. If you scroll down to the provisional BEAD grantee resources section, both the Q&A and the recordings and slide decks from these calls all live there. Um, so that's a good segue into our Q&A portion. So I'm going to turn it over to my colleague Allie to take us through that. Allie, over to you.
Thanks, John. We have a couple of updates today from some of the feedback that we've gotten from you either last week based on our office hours or just over the last couple of weeks in terms of the milestone feedback. Just first, just really wanted to say thank you so much for those of you who took time to look at the milestones in the grant agreement and to send us feedback. We cannot thank you enough. I think we're in Colorado, we feel like we've got some of the best stakeholders in the world because you take time out of your very busy days to make the program better. So we are integrating the milestone feedback. We actually got some yesterday. Some NTIA issued a new fax document that we believe is going to clear things up and make things a little bit more flexible. We hope for us for the milestones. So hoping maybe next week or the week after we will have something new for you to react to. And we certainly hope we'll be able to take into account. We will certainly take into account as many milestones as we can, within the guidelines that we've been given from NTIA, and we really do hope that you'll be pleased with some of the changes so that they'll feel a little more in line with the way you run your projects. Wanted to add just an additional thing, two things really. One, we had a couple of questions about the letter of credit. We've gotten a couple of those over the last couple weeks, which we are hoping and excited that it means you are probably starting to look at your surety, whether you're doing a letter of credit or a payment or performance bond, and are going to be reaching out to your surety companies, either your banks or your bonding agents. Wanted to remind you that next week we have our session is entirely on surety requirements, so the letters of credit and payment and performance bonds. So if any of you are feeling a little bit upside down in that, we'll do everything we can to get that clarified for you next week. It just as a reminder, there was a question about in the letter of credit, what that 10% applies to. Again, we'll talk more about it next week. If this is not on your radar, don't worry about it yet. But that 10% is the subsidy amount plus match. That's something we call the grant agreement funds, the agreement amount in your grant agreement. and that agreement amount is inclusive of match. So don't worry about it if it's not on your radar yet. We'll talk a little bit more about it tomorrow. And then the last thing, next slide, the last thing that we wanted to mention is that we are going to be issuing a small update to the BEAD Provisional Onboarding Guide. So that's the guide that was in an attachment in your email. And partially this is in response to some of the comments that you all have given us over the last couple of weeks. One of those comments is, and we certainly appreciate it, how on earth do we get certified engineers to sign off on a timeline when they have no control over the timeline? And we understand that for sure. So we have given you the option, of course, to be able to submit what you submitted to Michael and John as part of your reconciliation. So if that's something your engineers will sign off on, fantastic. You don't need to do anything else. But if you're having a little bit of trouble, we reached out to our engineering consultants and asked if they could help us potentially simplify a timeline so that to something that they might feel like they would be willing to sign off on. And they gave us an example. So this is an example here, and they will this example will be in that provisional onboarding guide. It's one of the changes we're making. So if you're having any problems, we hope this will be helpful. This is not a requirement that we can waive. This is an NTIA requirement. It's not a CBO decision requirement, but hopefully this will be helpful. So I'm seeing questions coming in from the chat. Just as a reminder, we're going to hang on to those until the end to make sure we have an opportunity to get through everything. John will take us through some information on cybersecurity, and if you missed it in your email, we are thrilled to have our environmental consultants with us today to do a very, very brief overview today and sort of what's coming next over the next couple of weeks when we start digging a little bit into environmental reviews a little bit more. So I will hand it off to John right now, and then I'll hand it, and he'll hand it to Serena in just a few slides. Thanks.
Thanks, Allie. So I just put another link in the chat. This is to a certification document that's a prerequisite for your BEAD grant agreements. This is a certification regarding the cybersecurity plan and the supply chain risk management plans. There is a requirement that you can reference in your template BEAD agreements. 3139 and 31310 are the two relevant sections in your template grant agreement. So be sure and review those. But since the last time we talked in our BEAD kickoff call about this, I think it was January 15th, if I'm remembering correctly, we needed clarity from NTIA on whether the plans actually needed to be provided to CBO. And since then, we have clarified that we do not actually need copies of your plans sent to us electronically. We need these certifications. So the certifications, you can look at the text, but you'll need to certify that both plans are operational or ready to be operationalized upon receiving services. So if you already have a cybersecurity risk management plan, a supply chain risk management plan, you may be fine. Take a look at the requirements. We'll talk a little bit more about the federal frameworks that your plans have to align with. But if you feel confident that you're already there, you can go ahead and sign these certifications. Just be sure that you have the ability to back up your certification in case of audit. Can you go to the next slide, please, Megan? If you aren't so sure, if you have a cybersecurity plan or a supply chain risk management plan, but you don't know if it aligns with the requirements in the grant agreement, or if you don't have a formalized plan, you maybe have an informal plan and you need some help formalizing things, we've opened up a technical assistance program. So as of last week, the technical assistance program has been opened up to our BEAD applicants, and you can go to our technical assistance page, and I will paste that link into the chat now. And you can apply for this technical assistance. It's a two-step application program. We want you to fill out an application form, and we also want you to fill out a checklist that basically gives us a little bit of information about where you are on these plans, and that helps inform the cybersecurity experts' work. Um, but if you think you're going to need this technical assistance, I would encourage you to go ahead and apply as soon as humanly possible. Just because, like I said, this is a prerequisite for BEAD. Um, so you can go to the link I pasted in the chat. You can follow the two-step instructions there on how to apply. Next slide, please. So, just a little bit more information. Why are these plans best practice for all ISPs? It's a requirement under BEAD, but it's always best practice to have these cybersecurity plans for a number of reasons. They protect critical infrastructure, safeguard customer data, ensure service reliability, and prevent malicious component insertion, among other risks. It's just plainly good for business. But it's also a requirement under BEAD, so you only need this certification once per entity. So if you do this once, and you have multiple applications under the BEAD program, you don't have to do this for each application, just once per entity. And if you apply, all the recipients receiving technical assistance will be paired with a cybersecurity and supply chain risk management expert consultant to create a plan or plans or to revise the plans as needed, and make sure that they align with the state and the NTIA's minimum standards. So in our award, the federal frameworks that we're basing the cybersecurity plan on are the latest NIST cybersecurity framework and then Executive Order 14028. And then for cybersecurity risk management, key practice from the NIST IR 8276 and then NIST 800-161. If you don't know what those are, then I would encourage you to apply to this technical assistance program, and our expert consultant will help you get there. So, that's the pitch. Again, I really do encourage everyone to apply. If you think you're going to need this technical assistance, I would encourage you to apply immediately, if not sooner, just because, timelines are sneaking up on us. We do not want this to hold up the execution of a grant agreement once everything else is ready. So if you think you need that, again, go ahead and apply. If you're not sure, if you have any questions, send those our way, put them in the chat. We'll talk about it at the end of this call. Um, so that's it for me on the cybersecurity and supply chain risk management technical assistance program. So now I'm going to turn it over to, I believe, our new friends at HDR, our environmental consultant, and I think it's Serena who may take us through the next slide, I believe. And if anyone's talking, you're on mute right now. Uh-oh, well, I wonder if we're having some microphone issues. We've been known to have gremlins in our microphones. Um, that may be what's going on here.
We have. Why
Um,
why don't we give Serena just a minute? Let's skip to the next slide and then we'll Serena or Chad, if you guys are available. It looks like you're unmuted, but we can't hear you. Oh wait.
Can you hear me now? Okay, I
Yes.
yes.
for some reason I had the wrong microphone on, so yeah. Usually it just automatically goes to that, but I will start all over. Sorry about that, everybody.
No.
I'm Serena Brownlee with HDR. Have background in NEPA, and I'm going to be leading the NEPA compliance for Colorado Broadband Office. So just briefly, going to go over high level some of the triggers for federal and state environmental compliance for BEAD projects. So it's going to be required for all projects, regardless of size or location. But the NTIA has developed so many wonderful tools to help streamline the process for grant recipients. So just want to go over some of them. First of all projects are going to require compliance with NEPA, the National Environmental Policy Act, and Section 106 of the National Historic Preservation Act. But most of the BEAD projects are going to be eligible for categorical exclusions under NEPA, and the NTIA has developed 46 broadband relevant CADXs that can be used for most routine BEAD activities, including when you're working in right-of-ways, when you're just doing some minor ground disturbance. Things with minor impacts are going to qualify for those categorical exclusion. So, and that really streamlines NEPA by allowing it to be completed in, weeks instead of months when the project applies. The other tool is the programmatic environmental impact statement that has been prepared, and that's going to cover a lot of broadband construction activities like fiber installation, horizontal directional drilling, pole attachments, things like that. So all of these tools are going to ensure that you're not starting NEPA from scratch, which is really helpful. Section 106 of the National Historic Preservation Act is also going to be required for projects. The NTIA has developed procedures to streamline Section 106 by exempting certain projects from review, using defined areas of potential effects, and limiting consultation. So this is going to significantly reduce the need for, cultural survey needs for a lot of these broadband projects. And then there are other federal and state laws that may be required depending on your project specifics. And these include the Endangered Species Act, the Clean Water Act, and the Bald and Golden Eagle Protection Act, as well as the Migratory Bird Treaty Act. And so these are going to be for, working in waters, seasonal restrictions for raptor nests, looking at, surveys for endangered species. And then a few Colorado laws that may be triggered, the new state dredge and fill requirements through the Colorado Department of Public Health and Environment, the Noxious Weed Act, the Hazardous Waste Act. Those are just a few. And I know that this was a lot, but not every project's going to trigger all of these federal laws and state laws. But that's where a really good environmental consultant can help you identify the requirements early in the process. And they're really going to be location and design specific. And your environmental consultant can help you identify what your NEPA and Section 106 requirements are going to be, help you conduct any required surveys for biological resources, aquatic resources like wetlands and stream impacts, and any kind of monitoring or mitigation. And this will all help keep your projects compliant while your construction stays on track. And I'm happy to answer any questions. Hope that was brief enough.
That was great. Thanks, Serena. Um, we have one more slide before we jump into the questions. If we could check that out real quick. Just a reminder about the onboarding checklist. So another link for you. I'm putting the same link in the chat that I put in at the top of the call. This is the link to our BEAD page. The checklist is linked there. A lot of you have already accepted your your application in the grant portal, I should say. And so you're already working your way through the checklist process. If you lose the checklist, you can find another copy here. If you want to see around the next corner, if you're still not there yet, you can download the checklist from the BEAD Provisional Grantee Resources section, and start looking at what's going to be required there. There's a summary on your screen, a lot of the things that we've already talked about, but we've got surety coming up next week and some other topics as well. So just a reminder about that checklist and where it lives. And now I think we're ready to dive into the questions. So,
Yeah, I can start with the first one. Jake asked for the compliance trainings, the required compliance trainings, can the financial officer and the signature authority be the same person? And Jake, this is a great question. They cannot. So your project director, your financial officer, and your signature authority need to be three independent people. It's for a couple of reasons. One is they have different responsibilities in many cases, but also your signature authority is someone who is authorized to sign on behalf of anyone in your project. So if, for example, your financial officer goes on vacation for 2 weeks, your signature authority would be able to step in for that person. It does not happen the opposite. Your financial officer could not step in for your signature authority, nor could your project director step in for your signature authority. But the signature authority can sign on behalf of both of those other two people. And it makes sure it also helps us make sure that we always have someone who can sign up on the grant so we can get you paid and get things executed. So, thank you. Great question. Jake, you asked about the pollution liability insurance requirement. Is it required by NTIA or the BEAD NOFO? No, it's a state requirement. So because you'll be doing construction work and disturbing the ground, that's a state requirement. And though that information, what Jake is referring to is in your grant agreement. So you should be able to find that within your grant agreement. Kyle, and y'all hop off, as always, hop off mute if I'm not answering your question in the way that you intended it to be asked or answered. So, on the required documents checklist, grantees must provide performance bonds and certificates of insurance prior to a grant agreement execution. The performance bond requirement shifted to 60 days post execution. Are there any anticipated updates regarding when insurance must be obtained pre or post execution? For projects that may not begin until later years, securing and paying for insurance in advance of construction could represent unnecessary cost. Sorry, Kyle, insurance requirements are state requirements for all contracts. So no, we don't anticipate any changes to that. Jake is asking about self-insurance of a specific liability, what those requirements would be, and would you just need to submit a certification saying you would cover claims? No, unfortunately, the state only allows for self-insurance in very, very limited cases. So if you are interested in self-insuring for something specific, let us know. Things like pollution liability coverage, and then some other things, crime insurance, are often riders in your general liability terms. So you might check that first before you worry too much about this. Just check with your insurance broker and see if those are included in your riders. But if they're not, and so you may already be paying for them, but if they're not, and you want to self-insure, that'll be an email to the advance inbox and to John and Michael, and we'll look at your specific case to see whether or not the state might be able to allow self-insurance. Is the letter of credit template available, or will it be available with the session next week? And Judd already answered, but yes, we're excited to have that really close to being done, so the letter of credit will be available next week. Jake, would costs like the pollution liability insurance premiums be eligible costs for the BEAD program? For us, the cost would only be incurred as stipulated in the BEAD grant agreement. Let me take that back. In some cases, insurance can be an eligible cost for the feds, and in some cases, it actually can't. So I don't know for pollution liability. So let me take it back, and we'll get an answer for you. Does the state of Colorado need to be listed as additional insured on every insurance policy, or is it sufficient to show the state of Colorado as a certificate holder on the certificate of insurance? That's a great question. Let me take that back. I believe if you look in the, unless John, you know the answer to that. I believe there's information on that in the compliance and reporting guidelines that's sort of specific to this, but I don't want to give you the right answer. So
Yeah,
you
I think I'm
must
going to have to
list.
dig in as well.
Yeah, I know that you must list the state of Colorado as additional insured on your certificate of insurance. And I'm not sure I understand the difference here. So it's a great question, Jake. We'll look into it and find out for you. Judd posted NTIA's latest facts. We're excited to really dig into them and you know, in your spare time, hopefully you are too. Um, Kate asked, we've got a cybersecurity plan. It's in operation based off of NIST 1.2. The consultants updating it to align with with the 2.0 version. Current projected completion date is July 1. Is it allowable, or is there something that the TA program could help you speed up? John, I'll punt that one to you if you want to answer.
Yeah, so if you've already got a cybersecurity consultant working on this, I'm not really sure what ours would be doing that would be different than the one that you're already doing. I can say in our program, our technical assistance program, we're trying to move a little faster than July 1st. Um, so if it's a question of whether your current plan is in alignment with the federal framework, I would encourage you to apply in the avoidance of doubt. And then, it doesn't cost you anything. We've already purchased the consultancy. So um, I I I I'm struggling, Allie, to articulate
Yeah,
this, but
I think I would agree. Kate, why don't if you want to apply, give us more information, we'll just chat with you. And figure out what's specific to your specific case and whether or not um we can be of any assistance. So it sounds like
Mhm.
it's a, a nice problem to have that you've got a plan, it's in compliance and being updated. Love to hear it.
Yeah. Thanks, Allie.
Um,
And we do have multiple paths for this technical assistance program. There's a pathway for creating the plans from scratch or from nothing, and then there's this pathway for updating if these plans already exist, but you just don't know if they need to be updated or not. So definitely encourage you to apply.
yeah, Kate.
Yeah, I just wanted to clarify because I believe the requirement is we have to sign the certification before the grant agreement can be executed, right? So if we're not going to be able to sign the certification until July, that means we wouldn't be able to execute the grant agreement until July.
That'd be
That's
correct.
right.
Okay, thanks.
Brian asked, what is the state's coordination with our SHPO looking like? Which is, for those of you that aren't aware, it's the State Historic Preservation Office. Um, we have been working with our SHPO for the last 6 months or so. They've been integrated and really helpful in getting Serena and her team at HDR on board with us. We understand that it can be really frustrating to go through so many state agencies for processes, and are really excited to be working with them to really help hopefully streamline the process for you. So I'm gonna punt some of the NEPA and historic preservation questions until a couple of sessions from now, just because we're really sort of just getting started, and we'll have more details for you later. But Brian, thanks for raising it. They are definitely on our list to collaborate with. Laura is asking about the relationship between subrecipients, our HDR, our environmental consultant, and y'all's environmental consultants. I'm going to punt that a little bit, but we do have some answers in the facts about this. In general, big picture, the state of Colorado will be will be reviewing your plans and submitting them to the NTIA on your behalf. So we look at them, we decide if they look okay, and when they look okay, we will bump them to NTIA. HDR will be helping us with those reviews. We also anticipate that they will be able to work with your consultants as well. To give some mentorship, to do some training, but we'll talk a little more about that in detail. But I just saw Serena hop up. So maybe Serena, if you wanted to speak to this at all, if you wanted to.
We're happy to answer any questions and be an available resource for applicants. Yeah, we are brand new kind of on this contract, so I'm not exactly sure how that works yet, but I'm
Yeah.
happy to
Y'all,
answer.
our first meeting was Monday and they came and presented for us today. So we're very grateful. And also, just thank you, Serena, for being willing to take questions. Okay, so Cynthia, can the officer and the signature authority both be authorized signatures? Yes, that can happen. They can both be authorized representative signatories. David, you asked if the surety requirement shifted to 60 days after grant agreement. Judd clarified this. And again, y'all, I'm going to punt this a little bit till next week because we'll talk a little more in depth. But the answer to that question is you have two options for surety. You can take two paths. You can take the letter of credit path. If you're going to go the letter of credit path, that has to be in prior to your grant agreement execution. If you go the payment and performance bond path, you have a little bit more time. We can execute the grant agreement. You can get it immediately after, but you should be prepared to get that because you have to have it within 60 days. Oh my gosh. That looks like the last question. That feels like that can't be true. Any other questions?
I'll ask another question
Yeah.
if you don't mind. So I emailed this earlier to Brian and Michael, but is there a place in the portal where we can see kind of like our final approved project files? We had round one and curing, and then round two and curing, and it seems like in the application part of the portal, it's like all the files we've ever uploaded for that specific application, and I'm trying to compile the correct information for the PE certification documents, and it's getting a little bit confusing and complicated. So I was wondering if you all have that in the portal somewhere, and I just don't know where it is.
If Michael is on, I will punt that question to Michael. I'm sorry, I am just not as familiar with Salesforce as some of the other
All
team
of
members.
all of the files that you've submitted, Kate, will be in the application. The final files, that's going to be a little bit of a dig. There are dates of when they were posted. So if you had a file that replaced a one, it would have a newer date. But there is no place that we recaptured all the files and summarized them. No.
Okay, and for the files we submitted like via email, I think that was round one curing where we weren't
Mhm.
uploading, we were submitting via email.
They
We
were
need to pull.
uploaded in the
Oh, they are?
application. Yes.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, Kristen helped me out with that during the curing, and when there was a cure went out and a file was returned, we uploaded that file in the application.
Thanks, Michael. I appreciate
Mhm.
that. All right, we got a question, great question from Kim Smith because there is a little bit of uh, overlap here. So, the timeline for the checklist requirements that we have asked you all to have to us basically by the end of the month. And then how does that coordinate with the technical assistance program in the event that you need a little bit of support on your either your cybersecurity risk management plan or your supply chain risk management plan? So Kim, this is a great question. We'll take it back. And I always say I'm not going to answer questions live if I don't know the answer, but I have a thought on this. Sorry, team. Um, if you need assistance with your SCRM or your supply chain risk management plan or your cybersecurity plan, um, If you will please upload an explanation in lieu of the certification there. So, the reason we put the date of the 23rd is that we have to review all of that documentation before we're able to move you on. And it just takes us a while, particularly the network design. And so if you can get those things into us, but we do want you to just send us an email once you've got the full packet in. It's really hard for us to sort of track 92 grants and 6 documents per grant. So Kim, we'll make a clarification for this, but if you need some help on that, or if you just want some help on your cybersecurity plan or your supply chain risk management plan, if you'll please just upload an explanation, and then we'll get that certification from you afterwards. And did just sort of want to clarify, Kate was making this clarification. That does not mean that you would be able to move forward with your agreement until you have those requirements. Again, we just have to have them per NTIA requirements, but it'll allow us to review your application and get everything ready for you in anticipation of getting that taken care of. So, um, David, the network design, is the high-level design submitted during the application valid, or do we need more specific details? Great question. Thank you for asking. We do need additional details. We talked a little bit about this on one of our office hours. Maybe it was the first one. Could we go to the next slide? And you can hop back in session 2. So it was on the 22nd. So you can take a look at our archived videos and you'll be able to see a little bit more information on what's required in the network design. But David, in the guidelines that we sent out, there's lots of detail on what needs to be included in the network design. There's a narrative portion. There is there's the submitted files with all the different layers and specifically what those need to look like. One of the other things that we will be issuing, I don't think we've posted it today, but it likely will be posted by the end of this week, is a template for how we would like things in your, specifically in your network design, to be labeled. So keep an eye out for the additional clarification within our document. That'll be new. And then, oh, thanks, John. John posted that design video in our in the chat here. And then, and if you have any questions, again, as always, just email us. Or next week, we will be having our financial surety session. Again, we encourage you to invite your financial team, your bookkeepers, your financial officers last session. If you feel like there are the different people that may be the right people to join and for some of these office hours, these are open to anybody that you feel like would help you. So we've got some additional sessions coming after the 12th. We're working on the dates for them now. We are inviting CDOT to come and talk a little bit about what a CDOT permitting process will look like. We will be having some conversations about Build America, Buy America. We've got Serena and her team coming back for a couple of sessions for NEPA and environmental and historic reviews. If you are thinking about, if you're looking at contracting with your environmental consultants, maybe you're still in the procurement process, maybe you've still got them done, but you'd like them to come and attend those sessions, they are more than welcome to come and listen. NTIA has done a ton of work, especially around NEPA, to try and streamline the process. It makes sense to make sure that your consultants know about those as soon as possible, so that they're sort of right sizing their work for you. So you will get another, keep an eye out in your email. Kristen will be sending an email with what'll be coming up soon. We are trying to prioritize right now the pre-agreement items. So the things that if you don't get them done, we can't issue you a grant agreement right now. And then we will be moving into that like first phase of post-award, NEPA, Build America, Buy America, permitting, all that kind of stuff. So we'll be moving into that phase soon. So, does the professional engineer need to certify the network design? Uh, if so, when can we expect the standardized attribution structure to be provided? Mm. So, I really want to kick this to Michael. I think I understand what your question means. So, Laura, hop off mute if I misunderstand it. And Michael, please correct me if I'm wrong. But I think what I hear you saying is, um, when will that file that I was talking about, the template that has all of the specific attributions the way we want to see them, be available? We're hoping by the end of the week we should have that posted. And keep an eye out on our facts. We'll link it in there as well. And then the second question is, do they need to certify the attributed network design? Yes. So the network design is a portion of the entire package that will need to be certified by the network engineer. If you have any questions about that, or if there's an issue, just Laura, just let us know.
Okay, looks like we've come to the end of our questions. Is the portal open yet? So that's a
Great
good
question.
question, Cynthia. So um, basically the way it works, and Michael, help me out if I again don't articulate well, but we have the application section, the application record rather, in the portal should be open to everyone at this point, where we've been reviewing and making sure all the information is correct. Once you accept that application, once you go through the process of we finalize all the information, we send you um, the notification that you can accept the application in the portal. We'll then be able to move things over to a grant agreement record, so that you can get in there and start uploading files from your checklist there. I hope that answers your question, but it's kind of a two-step process.
And we know that um I know that I was not on the call last week, but I know that this was a question, what does that acceptance mean within the portal? It just means you're continuing through the process, right? There's no commitment between you and the state of Colorado until grant agreements are fully executed. We did good today, John. What other questions do y'all have? What questions can we answer for you?
Our application included the same person for the signature authority and project director roles. Did you say we need these to be different people? If so, how do we change this info?
They do need to be different people for the purposes of signing the grant. John, I think that would be within Salesforce, right? Did
It
Salesforce
would
change? Yeah.
be. Yeah, just tell you what, shoot me an email. Tell me who you need to be where, and we can fix that pretty quickly. Oh, I'll put it in the chat.
Mhm.
This generally goes for everyone, but if you have questions, you can reach out to me. But also, we've got the big advance inbox. So if you send questions there, that will really make a splash. So I encourage you to use that one as well. But let's see. Another question. Sorry, I think I missed the detail around this. Can you reiterate? Does the PE need to certify the attributed network design? If so, when can we expect the standardized attribution structure to be provided?
So
Oh,
before
okay.
oh, go ahead.
Oh, no, no, I'm sorry. Go ahead, Allie. Apologies.
Yeah, so I just want to make sure I'm answering the question that you asked. So Laura,
You did, Allie.
confirming, yeah. Did I answer the
Yeah,
question? Okay, great.
I believe you did. So what I heard was that the PE will need to certify the network design that has been attributed, and
That's
that we can
correct.
expect the standardized structure to be provided later this week.
That's correct. Yes. Good.
Perfect.
Sorry. Sometimes I get a little tangled up. So, Nicholas, feel free to hop off mute and we can chat a little bit more around the network design. I know that some people have been able to be on all of the calls, some people haven't. So don't want to assume that you have knowledge that from a different session.
No,
Um,
thanks, Allie. That makes
yeah.
sense. I had just already got our PE stamp partner going on our drawings, but I'll need to have them pause if they now we need to recreate something,
Hmm.
whereas other states have just taken our drawings as is,
Nicholas,
stamped by a PE, and that's been
yeah,
sufficient. So I don't,
were they
yeah.
created in alignment with our original guidance so that it included the attributes
Yes.
that we asked for? It's just that they weren't
Yeah.
standardized in the way that the template has it.
Yeah, we followed that
Yeah.
guidance. Yeah.
Yeah. Nicholas, that would be fine.
Okay.
Yeah,
Maybe
that'll be fine.
I'll shoot it over to Michael. He'll be our administrator. Maybe I'll just double
Yeah.
check that.
It
But
just needs to, if you have created something based on our previous guidance,
yeah.
um, we will
Well,
accept it.
everyone should have created something
Yeah.
from previous guidance in accordance with the
Hopefully.
program.
Right.
Yeah.
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 Yeah. So, but if you haven't started working on it, um, this, we encourage you to use the template.
Yep. Yep. These costs add up. So just
Exactly.
trying to
Exactly.
save a buck.
We don't
Yep.
want to cause you additional costs. So,
Yep. Thank you.
sure.
Well,
Other
if
questions,
there's,
y'all?
oh, go ahead.
Oh no, it's doing the same thing.
I'm not seeing any additional questions in the chat. So it, if one comes up after this, if something comes to mind, feel free and shoot us an email. Can we go to that final slide there, Megan? There we go. So we've got the advanced CBO email address right here. That's our big list serve. Please keep sending your questions to that email address. We update the FAQ regularly. So if we don't respond to any of your individual questions, the answers probably showed up in our FAQ document. But keep an eye on these additional resources on the right-hand side of the screen as well. We've got our grantee resources. We've got our FAQ. We've got our newsletter. Keep an eye out for us in the news. Hopefully, nothing controversial there. And with that, I guess we can give everyone back the gift of 11 minutes, unless we have any additional questions. Oh, wait, do we have a question? Let's see. One more. Laura asks, someone had mentioned a 23rd deadline. Can you please clarify what is due by the 23rd? I had not seen a deadline in the documents. So it depends on where you are in the process. If you have already accepted your application in the portal and things are moving over to the grant agreement record in the portal, then we gave you a deadline of the 23rd to upload your documents to that grant agreement record. And that's all the items in the checklist. As Ali was saying earlier, though, if like you're not going to be able to get your cybersecurity certification in on time, upload something letting us know that's still in process. You're going to apply for the technical assistance program, something like that, just so we know what's going on with that particular document. Ali, anything else you want to say about that? Okay,
I don't think
Laura.
so. Yeah.
Okay, Laura, I hope that answered your question. Thank you, John. Okay, breathing sigh of relief. Good. Good. I've been talking to a lot of grantees. I know we've got tight deadlines and everyone's working real hard. Um, just want to say I think we all deserve a little bit of extra grace right now. We're all working really hard trying to get through this. So don't stress. And if you are stressing, reach out to us and we'll, work together on something. So
Yeah.
CBO is awesome. Well, thanks, Kim. You're awesome. Okay, well, I don't have anything else. Thanks, Laura. Okay, y'all. Well, have a good rest of your day. Please reach out if any additional questions come up. We appreciate y'all. Okay, bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Thanks.